What's up, people? It's your boy, Chris the Analyst Ventura, bringing you another edition of Bridgeside Sports here today on a beautiful Monday evening. And as usual, today we got Mr. Sports Science himself, Philip Cagliostro, on the show. We have two newcomers on the show as well tonight. We have a good friend of mine here, dominant fantasy sports player, Mike Bukowski. We call him Mike Boo.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome. And we have hockey specialist and from the Stephen James Experience. His name is Stephen James, joining us today as well. How you guys doing?
Very good.
Good. All right, so tonight is an action-packed show. We have, hockey playoffs. We got basketball playoffs. We got the New York Rangers, MLB, the Mets, which is a debacle in of itself the last couple of days. We got a lot of topics to bring you. We got an interactive debate segment as well. We got a lot going on, and we're going to kick it off tonight since, both these guys are very good with the hockey. Our two newcomers, we want to kick it off to them. We got the Rangers. We'll talk about Rangers playoffs. Right now, they're down 2-0 in the series, and they're coming home for Game 3. So I want to know, Steven, I'm kicking to you. What do you think of this series so far? How do you feel about the Rangers and their chances to come back here?
I still like the Rangers' chances in this series. I'm still picking them overall to win. But the most important thing is they have to be able to get pucks to the net. Games 1 and 2, they were not able to do that. The power play has been an issue not only in this postseason, but in previous postseasons. Mm-hmm. So just got to get pucks to the net, play to your speed. Ottawa is not nearly as fast along the boards or in the neutral zone, and find a way to limit Karlsson. You have to be able to close out games. We saw that in Game 2.
Yeah.
There's no way you should allow somebody or any team to come back, being up, as you said earlier, 2 times. 2 goals, 2 separate times, and they can't close out the game.
Yeah, I think 3 times they got up by 2 goals.
Yep.
3 times within that game, yeah.
What, 3-1, 4-2, 5-3?
Right.
Yeah.
They got, because they came back, they scored, made it 3-2, then got up again 4-2, then it was 4-3, then it was 5-3, and then they gave up those goals.
You let somebody drop a 4 spot on you, you just have to find a way to lock them down.
Yeah.
And how the Flames have to be, especially how the Rangers are built, that they scored 5 goals in a game, which you're talking about how bad that power play is. That we've actually touched on that previously. Like, they scored 2 shorthanded goals. They score more goals shorthanded than they do the power play, but they give up 5 goals and lose the game with how the team's built with Lundqvist and everybody, and how the team's built to.
They make no sense because, as you said, a team with shorthanded goals, outweighing the power play goals, it shouldn't happen. Same thing with being the league leader in road wins, but they can't seem to win at home. They can't put any progress together in the first period, but the second and third period they find ways to win. Mm-hmm. So this team makes no sense. Mm-hmm. They just still find ways, and Vigneault is going to have a difficult time trying to make adjustments.
First off, nothing kills me more than to talk about the Rangers. As a diehard Islander fan. It's painful to watch. But to me, it's just one of those situations where they were so thrilled to play Ottawa, and it always turns out that, like, when you're happy to play a team, they just, you're not ready for them. I don't know what it is, but they jump out to the 2-0 lead. In the other conference, in the other semifinal, you got Washington, you got Pittsburgh, 2 monsters, and Ranger fans were thrilled. But you know what? Ottawa's a good team. They've been solid all year. I don't know if they're taking them a little too lightly,
maybe,
but they've played very well. They're coming back. There's something to say about that.
Yeah, Ottawa kind of did get swept on the rug a little bit, you want to say, because I think you did make a good point of how so happy you were not to play Washington or Pittsburgh. You were thrilled, and then now Ottawa's, and like Steven said, they're the top road team in the league, and now they have to lost the 2 games in a row and have to go back at home where. What, did they just start playing good at home in the playoffs again? The past 2 games,
I've never heard somebody say they have to go back.
Home to
they
play. Lost 6 straight. They lost.
I know, you're right. It's just kind of one of those crazy things. I expect them to come back, win a couple of games at home. It's going to be a series. Yeah. But the power play has to get going because I think they have 2 power play goals. It's right now. It needs to come around because in the playoffs you need to score power play goals. You only get a couple per game. Penalties go down in the playoffs. You need to come through on those.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that second game to lose a grip of that,
tough game to lose.
Is real rough, and that's a heartbreaker. I mean, that could knock you out of a series. I mean, they could their heart might be out of it. But I really hope that you Ranger fans out there show up at MSG for Game 3 and really rock that place, because
it will be.
You got to get your team up. They could still come back, and it's not like you said, it's not like they're playing Washington or Pittsburgh.
But you can't think like that.
I know, but I know you can't do like that. And that's
just saying, when you do think like that,
seat. But I'm saying you have an opportunity to come back from 2-0. There's a chance. I mean, Ottawa, obviously, they're very good, but, you can, the way they're playing, it looks offensively, because right now I think it's their defense that's the weakness right now.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
I mean, Brendan Smith, who came over from Detroit around the trade deadline in the Montreal series, was a revelation. But now you've got, guys who are catching up to what he's doing. Dan Girardi, while he looked good in Game 1 and parts of Game 2, the second half of Game 2, he looked flat-footed more often than not. So the defense that this team was built around to help and protect Henrik Lundqvist here, leaving him out to dry. Henrik Lundqvist played phenomenal in Game 2.
That first game, too, they had 20-something shots in the first period. I mean, that game could have easily been like 6-1 or something.
I think they had 35 shots after the 2 periods, like you're saying.
Yeah.
What's not being talked about, I think, is the emotional aspect of, if you see round 1 when they played the Montreal Canadiens, that was a very emotional series, very hard hitting. Two teams that just don't like each other. So now you have that rest period where you're going into a team that you really don't have any issue with. So you got to find a way. Vigneault needs to find a way to get these young players amped up. There's a reason. I'd like to see Game 3 get a little bit more chippy. Yeah. It hasn't been chippy enough for me.
If anything, Brissaud's on the other side. He was saying how he doesn't want them to be friends. He said, stop being friends for 2 weeks. So if anything, it might be the other way. Like they got friends on. And I'll defer to you guys, but is it just me? Dan Girardi makes horrible turnovers.
Terrible.
Horrible.
It doesn't matter if it's the neutral zone or his own zone. It's just it doesn't. He's just not quick enough to the puck anymore. It's just, it might be time to move on from him in the future. See where we're going. Maybe get younger on defense. This is the last year where the New York Rangers have a legitimate shot at the Stanley Cup.
You think so?
Okay. Can they beat Washington or Pittsburgh if they were to get there?
I think they match up better against Washington than they do Pittsburgh. But in the case of both Washington and Pittsburgh, and in the Rangers' case, it's going to come down to the goaltender. Whoever gets hot, you can steal them. You can see them stealing around. Now, obviously, with Washington, you have a little bit more of an emotional, rivalry there than with Pittsburgh. You have the long history of Ovechkin comes into the Garden, the rafters just boo. It's worse than with Sidney Crosby. So I think we match up better against Washington in terms of what we do versus what they do.
I think I saw a little segue there you said about Washington and Pittsburgh. Now, would you rather them face Washington and Pittsburgh? Now with the news of what just happened, maybe you want to say about a half hour ago before we went on air, does that change the answer at all?
Yeah,
I mean, we can update people on what just happened. It looked like Crosby went down with a cross check to the head, was it correct?
Yeah, you're referring to 5:24 the first period. Matt Niskanen took a shot at Sidney Crosby's head. Cross-check, full extension of the arms, got a game misconduct, 5-minute major penalty. Sidney Crosby did not move. If you look at the video, it's bad. And a guy who has a history of concussion after concussion, post-concussion syndrome is a factor. He did not get up on his own power, so that's something to look at. No, you never want to see that. As much as you can call him a crybaby, you don't like him. He's still probably the best single athlete in professional hockey right now.
Yeah, and I think Pittsburgh is the best team in the NHL. Losing Crosby would be brutal. But you look at their whole team, they're just an offensive juggernaut. I mean, they just score a ton of goals, and they have enough to pick up the slack if he is out. But this definitely hurts them. I had them going to the finals easy. I had them winning either 4 or 5 games against Washington. It's going to be a series now. If he's out for a couple of games, if he's out for the playoffs, it changes everything.
Yeah, and Holtby has to play better. Yeah. He's a guy who as much as Alex Ovechkin is the most important player on the Capitals, Braden Holtby is not that far behind. Yeah, when he's hot, that team is unstoppable. He's a great puck handler. He allows them to get outside of their defensive end quick, turn around their backup ice. It helps them tremendously.
Well, who do you think? What do you guys think? Who do you think wins that series now that Crosby's down. They're up 2-0. I don't know what the score is right now of the game. If anyone can give me an update.
I'll get that for you.
But do you think the Capitals have a chance to come back and win this series, especially with Crosby?
I'm still picking them to win.
Yeah.
I had them in 7 games anyway because I think this is finally the year where they get over the hump and they make it to the Stanley Cup Finals.
Before they won 2 in Washington, I had Pittsburgh anyway. I think that they've been the best team in the Eastern Conference. I mean, obviously Washington, first in the conference, and Holtby is definitely a difference maker. But I mean, the offense on that team is insane, and they're clicking right now. So I still have them winning that series and going into the finals.
You think they win it? Do you think they're going to struggle though? Let's say Crosby's out.
If Crosby's out, it's going to be a series for sure. It's going to be a series regardless. They're going to make it a series. Washington is too good to roll over and just hand it to Pittsburgh.
Well, Washington's winning 1-0 with 5:46 left in the second.
Okay,
so
yeah,
the momentum could change real fast with this series, with this game. If Washington could come around, win the game, start to build some momentum. Now you got Crosby injured. It's not looking good for him to come back. I mean, you could realistically think he's gone for the playoffs. If it's that bad, if it's that bad as concussion, he can easily be gone for the playoffs.
Would you guys say these are the two teams you think? It's either one of these teams will win the Stanley Cup. It's one of these two winners. Would you say?
The only reason I say that's tough is that, and I do think it's hockey a little bit more than any other sport. A team can get hot. You get a hot goalie. We've talked about this. You get a hot goalie, but even just a team in general can get hot.
Look at Nashville.
Exactly. Yeah. You could get momentum. Nashville beating Chicago, and the way they beat Chicago, just utterly dominating Chicago.
Swept them.
Well, they've got probably the next best goalie.
And now,
other than Holtby, he could win a series on his own.
And
Rennie.
Yeah, exactly. And now they're rolling with the Blues. They're up 2-1. Chris and I were talking. They split the games in St. Louis, which you need to do,
and won the first.
And they won the game at home. So now they're up 2-1. Edmonton, Steve was just saying how young they are and they fly.
The average age is 25 years old. 25 years old. The youngest player on that team is 35, and he's the only one over 30. Exactly. It's insane.
The oldest player on the
team. Player on the team.
And McDavid led the league in points, so you could realistically. He's the only one with 100 points this year, I believe.
I believe Jack. Oh yes, Jack Eichel had more goals. Sorry.
Okay, and so McDavid could be one, if not the best player, one of the best players in the league at such a young age. That team can get hot.
That's a team of the future to look at.
I guess we're not talking about the one series. We're not talking about the people winning the cup would be the Senators or Rangers. We're talking about all the other teams.
My heart picks the Rangers because I think that if they play better defensively in front of Hank, and if they can get pucks to net on the power play, I think that they have a shot. But I cannot bet against Pittsburgh and their experience, or Nashville right now, because not enough is being said about what happened when you trade a guy like PK Subban and you trade your emotional center like Shea Weber at essentially the beginning of the year. You think that that's going to have and take some time to take shape, but it's lightened that team up. Not to take anything away from Shea Weber.
He was the captain.
Yeah, not to take anything away from him. You lose the big shot, but what you gain from PK Subban is a guy whose passion comes across for the game. So it's infectious to people. The younger guys want to play more. When you see your star player moving as hard as he does, as fast as he does, not taking any plays off, you want to play for that guy. So I think Nashville out of the West is probably my favorite pick.
Nashville out of the West?
Yeah, I agree.
I think they'll keep the momentum going, too.
Yeah. And these series, Edmonton is up 2-1 on the Ducks, which I think that the Ducks are going to come back in this series. I think they could be a really scary team at times.
Yeah,
they put up a lot of goals. I mean, I think they could still take the series, even though Edmonton won both those games on the road. Those first two games, and then they came back one at home. So, but I still think the Ducks will come back, win that series. I honestly do. And then I think Nashville, if they could take this game at home, it'll be them two in the semifinal. Mm-hmm. And then. I still think the Rangers could come back and win this series against Ottawa. I really think they're going to win these next two games. If they play with some heart.
A good series, too.
Yeah, and fire, it'll be a good series. I think it might go 7, and I think the Rangers have a legit shot.
Well, didn't our producer,
if they could do that.
Didn't our producer pick the Senators in 7?
What does he know?
He mushed us.
I picked the Rangers in 7.
He mushed us right away, said the Senators in 7, so the Rangers are going to lose. I was, side note on hockey, I was reading this, I thought it was pretty interesting. They were saying that, so yesterday in Edmonton, the speaker went out, and they were for the national anthem in Edmonton. Remember, and the whole crowd jumped in and sang the whole Star Spangled Banner. It wasn't because when the games in Canada, they play "O Canada," and they play the Star Spangled Banner for for Anaheim.
Right.
And the speaker went out and malfunctioned. The whole stadium sang
That's
the Star
crazy.
Spangled Banner. So the Duck sent a little tweet out and said, like, thank you,
Appreciative.
Edmonton.
Yeah.
Appreciate all the help.
Well, Canadians are known for being very nice people,
Yeah.
so I mean that makes sense.
You brought it up
nice
though.
ones.
The Edmonton fans are just happy to be. They're just happy to be there.
They've been jacked up.
11 years since their last playoff appearance. You know, they've got probably the best young superstar in the game right now. So they have everything in the world to be
And
happy
they had
about.
a
And they're going to
taste
win
of-
that series, I think.
And they had the taste of such success in the 80s. They had
Oh, yeah.
Gretzky, Messier.
Oh, yeah, the kid line with Adam Graves,
the
McTavish.
possibly the best teams of all time.
Oh, yeah. If you go down the list of all-time points leaders, half of it is like the top 5 is Edmonton. It's like Yari Curry, Paul Coffey.
Well, you could put Gretzky twice because
That's back when scores were like 9-7 in hockey games.
Gretzky used to have. I think Messier finally eclipsed it, but Gretzky used to have more assists than the next guy had points.
Yeah.
I think Messier finally got enough points to have more assists than Gretzky.
Gretzky's still
Gretzky's still okay.
He has
Gretzky's
more,
still
he has,
ahead.
As I like to put it, he has more ones than anybody has twos.
Yeah, that's
like
ridiculous.
you combined everyone's points, like
And they-
goals and assists. They still don't add up to
his
Wayne
assists.
Gretzky's
Well, yeah,
assists.
if you talk about one sport where one player is by far the best player of all time in a sport,
Absolutely.
it's Gretzky.
Absolutely, had his number retired.
You know what I mean? Because
Had his
you
number
got the
retired.
Jordan LeBron conversation. You got other conversations in other sports, but
We're
you don't
gonna
have a
get into
conversation in
baseball.
hockey.
We're gonna get into
We're
baseball
gonna
a little
get-
bit.
Yeah. I mean,
Going back to Gretzky for a second. I'm going to make my
He was
my grand
quiet.
appearance
He
on
was
today's
quiet.
episode.
He was quiet when I
stay
called
quiet
him out
over
for the
there
Rangers.
because we got to
loss.
move
Is that
on
God?
over here. What the hell
I
you
just
doing?
want to say real
Is that
quick, we were
God?
talking about this. This is the voice of God. We were talking about the other day.
Stop
talking
stuttering.
about
Hurry up.
Yager. That Yager's still playing, and we're talking about how close is he to Gretzky. Gretzky, when he retired, he was so far ahead of everybody in every stat. Like it wasn't even close. But Yager's just played so long that he's still behind. But it's just crazy.
He's still not even
You
close.
literally have to be incredible
Yeah,
and
he's
play
number
for
two
30
now.
years.
But you know what it
to
is?
match Gretzky.
It's like
No one ever will.
It's like when people look at the base in the steroid era and they say, "Oh, the stats were inflated. Nobody will ever touch them." Hockey was a different game back then. You know, like I said, scores were crazy. Goalies didn't have pads. It was a completely different game. Those records will never.
There was no
touched,
such thing as
ever.
the butterfly goaltender. Goalies, the style was stand-up goaltending.
Yeah.
They didn't and couldn't go down.
I'll make the last point because
Yeah,
Paul
we're
brought up
Mm-hmm.
Yager. Yager is now is second in the most in points. He's 68 years old. He's still playing. He's matched his number. But Gretzky has 2857 points. Yager has 1914. So
It's
over
not even
1,000.
close.
But hold on, and Gretzky's assists. 1963. So Gretzky has more assists than Yager has points. So keep Yager, play another 20 years. Maybe you'll get there.
Yeah, maybe one day.
I know we got to go on.
Yeah, anyway, so just one last point before I move on. Rangers need to watch out for this guy. He scored 4 goals that last game. Jean-Gabriel Pageau. Got to slow that guy down in front of net. 2 of them were deflection goals, those last 2 goals.
Yeah.
He was right in front. He just tapped it in. So the Rangers got to keep an eye on that. They got to shore up their defense. But anyway, moving on from the NHL playoffs.
We're not talking Islanders.
Who?
Yeah, who's that? Anyway,
I came on here because I thought we were going to talk Islanders for an hour. No.
no Islanders.
Mike gets up and leaves.
All right.
But yeah, other news, NBA playoffs are going on as well. We're going to talk about that right now. I'm going to touch on that briefly. I don't know if you guys want to talk about it a little more, but basically everything we thought was going to happen pretty much is happening. The only surprise, Utah took the Clippers in 7.
Cleveland's winning by 20 right now. 3 minutes left in the game. So
yeah, I mean, exactly. I last time, remember a couple weeks ago, I was saying that because Cleveland almost lost that game 1 to Indiana. To Indiana. And they ended up sweeping.
Now
They're going to
it's almost
sweep
like a
this
beast
series,
again.
so I don't even want to talk about the Toronto-Cleveland series. It's a joke.
I don't want to talk about Warriors, Utah, Warriors.
Utah.
Warriors in
Warriors
3.
are going to sweep.
It's going to be Warriors in 3. Utah's just going to fold. In
Yeah,
both
they might
games.
just fall. That's it.
Yeah,
Give up.
Unless
just
Joe
go home.
Johnson continues his remarkable fountain of youth performance.
I mean, the thing about basketball is, I was doing some research on this. The last 3 years, it's like I did some research. The last 3 years, it's really like when Golden State started kicking up a notch. There are no upsets in the playoffs anymore. I'm tired of it. I can barely even watch the NBA playoffs.
Watch the
All right,
finals, that's
this
it.
year there was one upset in the first round. Last year
It was the
and it was the 5 versus the 4.
Yeah, so that's, can you really call that an upset? It's borderline.
Last year, the entire playoffs, 2 upsets, and it was a 5 versus a 4 and a 3 versus
What about
a 2.
You do have to include Cleveland versus Golden State, though.
They were both ones.
A 3 versus 6.
Yeah,
They
but
were
that's
both
still,
ones.
That's still an
Still
upset.
when you're down that
You're
many
facing the
games.
73.
I'm not counting it. I'm not counting it. And
Taking
the
a
year
hard line
before,
on it.
2015, also 2 total upsets, a 5 versus 4 and a 5 versus 4. If you're a 6, 7, 8, don't even show up in the playoffs. It makes
No, you said a 3 and a 6 too. You said a 3 and a 6 was one.
no, a
of them.
3 beat a 2 in the second round.
Okay.
Okay? If you're a 6, 7, and 8,
You
these,
never
these
win.
teams in the
You
last
haven't
3
won.
years, listen to this. They're 0 and 18 in the playoffs. There's
They haven't won a game?
no. In
Oh,
the series.
sorry.
In the series,
Okay,
all right?
They won that ticket money though.
That's exactly
There are
Yeah.
no upsets in the NBA playoffs. I mean,
That's terrible.
It's it's a shame.
Terrible.
It's the lack of parity in the NBA
Yeah.
with building
Absolutely.
of the
Getting
super
worse
teams
every
and
year.
stuff like that.
Yeah,
Exactly.
people stacking, stacking teams, especially Durant going to Golden State. So it's going to end up being a Golden State Cleveland
That's good
finals.
stats, Mike, by the way. That's good stats.
Yeah, good stats, Mike.
thank you.
It's going to be Golden State Cleveland at the end, most likely. I mean, I'm going to watch a little bit of Washington Boston. That might be an interesting series. Boston leads that 1-0 right now in the series, and I think Washington's going to end up taking in 7. That could be a good one.
Washington taking in 7.
Yeah.
So you got an upset. Washington beating
it's
Boston.
yeah.
That's
yeah.
a 4 versus 1.
Yeah. I mean, Boston's not. Cleveland's really the one here. Boston's a 2. And Boston's a very far away too.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
So I think Washington, and I like Washington a lot. They're
I do
John
like
Wall,
Washington. I do
Bradley
like
Beal. That's a solid team. In the future, they could be even better. Their problem is their defense. They give up a lot of points. But then you got the series with Houston, San Antonio, which is going to be another good series. You got Harden, who
That's
took
probably
out,
the best
That'll,
series.
yeah,
Took
that'll
out
be
Westbrook.
7 games.
Yeah, I think that's a 7
Hopefully,
game or 2.
hopefully.
I think so. But I think San Antonio's going to take that one too. It'll be nice if Golden
like
State
to
plays
see
San
San Antonio
Antonio.
face- yeah.
Yeah, that'd be a really good series. I'd like to see that.
Because they're two different.
That's when it gets good.
They're two different styles of basketball. Obviously, with the Houston team, they're all about getting the 3 ball out there. James Harden, doesn't play much defense, if at all. and the Spurs are Greg Popovich's team. They have an aging backcourt, but they still know how to play defense. They got
Right.
Kawhi Leonard there.
Kawhi Leonard's
who
unbelievable.
might be the number 2
great.
best basketball player in the world right now, behind LeBron James.
With his defense, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, when you
outstanding
bring the
defense.
It'll be
defense.
interesting to see if he's guarding Harden
I think he
most of
should.
the
I
series.
think he has to.
It's going to be a good matchup.
I
mean,
agree. He has to.
That's the only fun series, really. That's the big
I think
series I
that's
want
the
to
fun
watch.
series. I think
Yeah.
Toronto is a fake team. Talk about
Yeah.
talk about a team that just can't. Beat
Cleveland might
What are they
absolutely
doing?
destroy them. I mean, I can't
Toronto
see it.
might steal a game or 2 at
I
home
don't
because
think
maybe
so.
maybe
They
they're
maybe
down by
get one.
they might be down by like 5 in the third quarter and LeBron just whatever.
I'm gonna take
I'm
his
gonna
ass.
rest
Slacking.
up and just
So if
rest
they
up
slack,
because he
maybe they'll
knows
take
that
a
he
game.
could just
Yeah.
win the next game. It doesn't even matter.
I know, but when you comes to the playoffs,
They
you
gave
don't
up
wanna
the
really
they
slack
gave up
at
the
all.
1 seed. I know.
Yeah.
I know. I hear you, but I'm just saying.
No, I know
but
what
they
you're
might steal a game or 2. But
Possibly.
that's not going to be a game that's not going to be a series that I think is going to get.
No,
in
there's going to
danger
be nothing
of Cleveland
shocking happening there. But and then even in the next round, yeah, Golden State, San Antonio is going to be great. But Cleveland,
gonna win.
Boston, or Cleveland, Washington, still. Now we're talking about we're a game away, series away from the finals, and that's still not even that great of a series.
No, you're still probably
still like
it's still probably if you see the 1-2 and 1-2 Golden State versus San Antonio and you see Cleveland versus Boston, you're still like, all right, Cleveland, Golden State. Like
It's
That's
bad
it.
for basketball. It
it
really
is.
is.
Bad.
it is
Yeah.
it's
And,
great for the finals, but it's bad for basketball in
And
general.
when we were growing up, 8 seeds beat 1 seeds.
Yeah.
That happened with the Knicks, right? The Knicks,
yeah,
the Knicks
Houston.
were an 8 seed. I mean,
Without that, we never have LJ.
that's out the window. That can't happen.
We
anymore.
also lived in the era, we can't forget, where Michael Jordan won 6 rings. So we talk about parity.
True,
there
too.
was still
It's
no
true, too.
parity there. And
You're
before
right.
that, it was the Celtics who had the dynasty, and then the Lakers before
Lakers
that.
had it. Yeah,
This is true. If you look at basketball, we've talked about this. How the best player usually the best player in the team dominates. Like
Yeah.
I
An
wouldn't say
individual
that- when
could
we were talking
carry
about
the-
NBA
carry a
MVP.
team.
If you ever looked at NBA MVP lists, like
Mhm.
guys who are your best player, they're all Hall of Famers, all of them.
yeah.
All of them. The first guy's
Crazy.
going to be Derrick Rose. He's going to be the MVP and not make the Hall of Fame. Think about baseball. All the people that win MVP are Hall of Famers. So the best guy in the league is usually just a legendary player.
Right,
He wins
right.
the MVP and then he controls. So you're saying like the Jordans, the Russells, the dynasties.
LeBron, yeah.
You get lucky if you have 2 teams that go back and forth.
So is it is it 6 straight finals for LeBron up to this point that he's
Yes,
been in?
which is amazing.
Amazing.
Soon to be.
I don't want to get to
probably
LeBron Jordan,
7,
but,
yeah.
No, we did it. We'll go back to it
But,
eventually.
yeah. No, what I want to say is that, if there was parity, it would be nice. And in basketball, I think it's the one sport where the best team most of the time wins the final. Like, they win the championship. Usually, it's always the best team that wins. Baseball, football, and other sports, sometimes the best team doesn't always win. The best team from the regular season throughout the longevity of the season and the playoffs, sometimes the best team doesn't always win. Sometimes it's just the hot team. In basketball, it's usually always the best team.
Even more than that,
usually.
With basketball, it's whoever has the best individuals. Yeah. It's not even if you like the Spurs play the best team basketball all around in the league,
and they still won't win. Yeah.
And they still won't win.
Yeah. They did win a lot.
Yeah, they did win a lot when they had dunk. Yeah, I mean,
with Cleveland, they can't play defense, but they score so many points where it just doesn't even matter. They'll give up 115 points a game, but they'll score 125. It just doesn't matter. They're going to get theirs.
Yep. No, absolutely. Well, yeah, that's our shtick for NBA playoffs. I mean, we're going to watch it, but not too.
We'll get to it. We'll get to it. We know
once it starts getting real good next round,
we'll get to it every time, but hopefully it gets more competitive.
Yeah, hopefully it gets a little more competitive. Anyway, right now we're going to kick it to. We had the NFL draft last week.
Live blogged
interesting draft.
We live blogged at the Bridge Sports team on GoBridgeside.com. Hopefully anyone who did look, thank you very much. We tried to give you our inputs on like Jets, Giants, and all those picks
during the picks and everything we did that we blogged. So go check it out when you get the chance. Leave your own comments. But right now I want to talk about. Let's start with the Giants and Jets, since our New York team's here. I think all of us are Giant fans here.
I'm a Bills fan.
Oh, you're a Bills fan. Buffalo.
Obviously, I don't know anything about football.
Technically, the only New York team.
Technically. But all right, we'll start with the Giants. What do you guys think? I mean, I don't know.
And we talked about this a little bit when the pick happened.
I was very upset.
I was surprised. Because, I know you've been saying for weeks you wanted a linebacker.
I'm a little biased.
And Foster was there from Alabama.
Right.
He fell. And then
I understand why they didn't
But I did read about that. Some people thought he was really banged up. And I was told also a little bit that I found that he never caused a turnover in college.
But he was a tackling machine.
Wait. You're a middle linebacker. You never intercepted a pass or forced a fumble? Chris.
Yeah, but you know what?
But I get you. I'm just saying, I thought it was a startling stat.
It is pretty.
Then you had, we all talked about the hole in the offensive line, and you didn't get an offensive lineman. You didn't draft an offensive line until the 6th round.
Right.
Is Eric Flowers still going to be there?
He's going to be the left tackle now.
Yeah.
Unfortunately,
he's going to be the starting left tackle.
He's going to be the starting left tackle.
He should be the right tackle, though.
He should be lucky to be the right tackle, to be honest with you.
Well, he's got to play because we really don't have much offensive line.
And then with the tight ends, one tight end slipped. Howard slipped to the 9th pick. The way I think, if you wanted a tight end so bad, why didn't you make a move to trade up to get him?
I agree. In fact, like the 4 picks before them
was Howard, right?
Howard. And then it was
Bowles. Bowles was 20.
Who would have been a nice addition on the O-line. And then a couple of linebackers.
2 that weren't Foster.
And,
so all guys they could have took, sorry.
They weren't interested enough in any of those guys. I don't know if they really love this guy. I mean, he's supposed to be crazy athleticism.
Yeah, he's a weapon.
But he's basically a wide receiver.
Yes.
Right.
He drafted a wide receiver. Does not block.
Right.
Okay? So he's just another wide receiver. We got that covered. To me, it's like... To me, it kind of tells me a little bit about what they think about Eli. That they're trying to increase the weapons. Maybe that he's getting older. They want to make sure they have the weapons for him as he gets older. But if you don't have an O-line, he's going to end up on the ground.
Wouldn't protecting him be the number one thing? Then, if you're talking about what you think of Eli, wouldn't protecting him be so important?
Yes,
it's hard to throw the ball when you're on your back.
Exactly.
That's the thing. And you know what it is? I understand. Listen, we don't know as much as obviously these GMs and these teams know about their teams. We're not there, and we're not complete experts like that. But we know a little bit about the Giants. We watch the Giants. We watch every game. We know the team, and to get another weapon, your strongest thing the Giants have right now is their wide receiver.
Absolutely.
The best in the league,
It's clearly the strongest thing that we have right now. So adding to that, okay, I understand the philosophy. Let's add more weapons. Now we're going to overwhelm teams in the passing game. But you can't overwhelm teams in the passing game unless you have these offensive linemen. You need, and if there was a guy, Ryan Ramczyk was right there, the highest graded offensive tackle on the board.
Yeah.
He didn't get taken before that. Garrett Bowles did, and he's actually ranked up. He was actually graded higher than him. That's a perfect. There's no reason not to take him there. Nobody would have. I would have gave that grade a nice B+ for taking him there because that was a good one. But instead, I'm going to give the grade for the Engram pick a C+. Because not only that, they could have went David Njoku, the tight end from Miami, who is a multifaceted tight end.
And graded higher than him because of the blocking. Yeah,
right.
That's what we were saying. Unless they just really didn't like these offensive linemen, unless maybe the only guy they like Bowles, but like Mike said, and trade up, make a move if you really like these guys so much, but you didn't. You sat back. Yeah, you hear the comparisons from Ingram to Jordan Reed. Okay. If he's Jordan Reed, then it was a great pick. But a lot of people Leonard Fournette got compared to Bo Jackson. Exactly. You know what I mean? Like, people get compared to people all the time. Let's see it come through. I just think you could have went elsewhere with the pick. I guess Ingram's their best developed player. I'm not crazy about the pick either.
Yeah.
I'd give it around the grade that you gave it, but I was a little disappointed with that.
The other,
it's the sexy pick. It's the weapon.
Yeah.
But I don't think it was the needed pick.
No, definitely not.
They got to get in the trenches.
And it wasn't.
Eli.
It also wasn't.
We got the weapons for Eli. This is a win now. You got Marshall. Okay, he's only got 2 years in the deal. He's old. How much more time does Eli have? Let's
exactly.
protect him.
2-3 good years left.
Exactly.
Maybe.
He's what, pushing 37?
Yeah, exactly. I was going to say he's 36. Going to push 37. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, maybe they don't want. The Giants seem to never want to draft a linebacker. I don't know. They seem to not care. You know,
God.
We won a couple of Super Bowls.
That burns me.
Without really having good linebackers.
Burns me so bad.
Lawrence Taylor in there. They drafted Lawrence Taylor and they said, we're going to go out. That's it. We drafted the best linebacker of all time.
I haven't had linebacker in like 15 years, I feel like. You know what I mean? Like
Antonio Pierce.
Pierce was the last really good one.
But they signed him.
So what are you going to say, Boo?
But, I mean, at a certain point, the defense did it. I mean, it improved so much last year, but it was really because of the secondary.
Yes.
All right? The
Thank you.
Jenkins signing was crazy good. They gave him a crazy amount of money.
Jack
but
Rabbit,
he ended up being
He was
just as
unbelievable.
advertised. He's
And
awesome.
Snacks.
Unbelievable. Snacks was
With the
great.
run.
So.
Vernon never comes off the field. He's got a motor. He's all over the field, Vernon.
We literally went from like bottom 3 defense the year before to a top 10 defense.
Yeah.
Not even in 1 year. In literally started next season. We were very good.
And I'm glad you brought up Jenkins. Jenkins impressed me so much.
Yes.
He was
all over the place.
All over everyone. He was covering everyone. Didn't even get burned that much. And you live with them getting burned because you're always covering the best wide receiver, and it happens.
It happened. But he locked down a lot of guys.
A lot of guys.
Yeah.
Just to segue into the Jets a little bit here is, the Giants proved that, if you're going to improve your defense, I really think it starts with the secondary. These days, it's a passing league, and you need a good secondary. So the Jets, I thought, made a great pick with maybe the second best player in the draft.
Yeah.
With the safety.
That's an A.
I don't mean to. I do want to get to the Jets. I do want to mention we did trash the Giants. I did like one of their picks.
Dalvin Thompson?
No, David Webb.
You like that?
I did like that.
I hated it.
I don't know
too.
why I hated it, but why?
I don't like it.
So the guy lost his job.
To Mahomes, I know.
Okay, so he lost his job. Then he went to Cal, and he had a losing record at Cal.
He's a third-round pick. Take a chance.
You don't take a chance with quarterbacks in the draft. You need these pedigrees that are just. Otherwise, to me, it's a waste of a pick.
Yeah.
I don't think he's ever going to amount to anything.
So would you have traded up for a better quarterback?
I don't think that this was the
you
draft to take a quarterback.
Yeah.
But they're not married to this guy.
Now you give him about.
So then it's a
small
waste
years.
of a pick. I mean, it's a third-round
It's
pick.
a waste of a pick. You see what
You
he
could
could do
get
for
better
a year.
there at third
You see
round.
what he could do for you. They like they like him physically. He's got a strong arm, and they like his physical. The biggest knock on
He's him
a
is
quarterback.
that he better have a strong arm.
Otherwise,
he should be a running back.
Horribly inaccurate.
Chad Pennington.
But he's horribly inaccurate.
I didn't think Chad Pennington
downfield.
was going to come up in this. I don't know.
But beyond 10 yards, he's terribly
I
inaccurate.
hear you, but the biggest knock on him was that he didn't know a pro system. You sit back, you learn. You're not rushing him in, and that's big in the NFL. You need a quarterback. That's probably why he fell. A lot of people had him going in the second round, maybe even the late first round.
Really?
He fell to the third round. I'm just saying. I liked where the head was at taking him.
If you really want to do that, though, this is the thing. You got 2 or 3 years left with Eli. If you want to win one more time with Eli, go after something that could help you in the immediate future in the third round.
You gotta
take a chance on a quarterback in the 5th or 6th round if you want to, or wait till next year because you don't need that right now. That's not going to help you in the immediate future.
I know, but look what the Packers did with Rodgers. Not saying this guy's
I know.
Rodgers. Absolutely not saying he's Rodgers. But look
let
what the
him
Packers
sit.
did with Rodgers. They took a first-round pick when they had Favre, and were looking to win the Super Bowl now. And look,
But that's
look what
also
they
a
did.
first-round pick. That was a first-round pick.
I know. I understand.
And he
that.
dropped. He was supposed
He dropped,
to go.
and he was supposed to. He was singing the green
Right.
room. I get it. I understand. That's why I'm not. By no means am I comparing.
In
him
this
to
draft,
Rodgers.
he probably gets picked
Yes.
first or second overall.
Yeah,
he should.
Trubisky got picked second overall, which was
please,
a
we can
shock,
talk about this
a complete shock.
Thank you. I just do want to give that point. I know Mike started going to the Jets, and the pick was great with Adams.
Oh yeah. No,
I know
absolutely.
he was starting to say it was an A.
And I want to say one thing about the Giants. Dalvin Tom. I actually like the second round pick, the nose
was a
tackle
good
that
pick,
they
too.
got,
I thought it was a good
because
pick, too.
they lost Jonathan
Hankins,
Hankins, who has been a pretty decent nose tackle for us besides Snacks. So we needed somebody to replace him. We got Dalvin Thompson. The guy's been decent. He's played for Bama, a big school. He got overshadowed by guys there, which is good because he was actually very good. He was underrated. This guy was a run-stopping nose tackle. So now you got 2 run-stopping nose tackles in the middle there. We should be good against the run. So it kind of makes up for not getting a linebacker. But the tight end pick should have went Njoku if you really wanted a tight end that bad. And the 3rd-round pick with the quarterback, I just think that, like, you want to win with Eli in the immediate future, go after somebody else there. You don't really need the quarterback now. This isn't a first-round quarterback,
look
though.
a little ahead. I know. You got to look a little ahead.
It's hard to hit on a first-round quarterback, let alone a 3rd-round quarterback.
But if you use it in the 3rd round, and
it's less of a gamble.
You're really not gambling there.
It's less of a gamble in the 3rd round.
But the 3rd round, you could get good other players at other positions there.
Well, you can't get a good quarterback.
You could waste a pick.
Starter guys, it's very.
You waste a pick.
It doesn't usually.
If you didn't take that offensive lineman with your first pick, you're not in a very weak offensive lineman draft. You're not going to find any value in the 3rd. Might as well take the risk.
Yeah, I mean, I understand where their head's at. It's just that I think they want to win with Eli, and you could have. I saw other guys there that were available. Maybe you get a running back even because our running backs aren't really great. That there's nobody that really is going to take 20 carries. Maybe you get an offensive lineman. Even though those good offensive linemen are off the board at this point, but. You want to win with this team while you got Eli left for 2 or 3 good years. So get something that's going to help him win a championship again. I think. I don't know. But to the Jets, Jamal Adams, unbelievable pick. But then they went safety in the 2nd round.
Yeah, I was a little...
I don't understand. And I get maybe you're going to trade Calvin Pryor or whatever.
They're going to cut Calvin Pryor. Yeah,
whatever the case may be.
Even that, I don't get. I mean, was he in the 1st or the 2nd round Pryor? They drafted him.
I think Pryor was in the 1st.
I think he was the 1st round.
But he
was only
bad.
a couple years ago. I know he hasn't been good, but
he doesn't
really
make any turnovers.
He just hits hard.
You're going to cut. You're going to cut him. And you're going to draft somebody. I mean, it's a little early, but
I agree that they should have went somewhere else. But
it was one of those things where their team was so bad last year that, I mean, they needed. It was like the Browns. They need everything.
They'll be bad this year too.
Yeah. Oh yeah. They're going to be bad.
They needed everything, which is why would they go 2 safeties?
Yeah. Why double up
safeties?
the same position when you
get something else?
Well, the pass defense was a complete disaster last year. I mean that.
Oh, to hit on your point, I know let's get all secondary guys, corners and safeties were going crazy this draft.
Yeah,
but
corners.
But that's not everything about pass defense. The line is a big portion of pass defense.
Pressure too.
You need
Absolutely.
pressure.
Well, the Giants proved that when they won the Super Bowls.
Exactly. 2 Super Bowls, both Super Bowls. Our D-line, we had the first time Strahan, Tuck was a rookie, and Umenyiora. And the second time we had Tuck, Umenyiora, and rookie JPP.
Yeah.
So we had a great line. Those guys played off each other. We had Kiwanuka. Right. Our line was amazing. Of course, we didn't really have linebackers. We had Pierce the first time, but our secondary wasn't amazing either at that point. They were decent. They stepped up. They got hot at the right time. But defense still wins championships. I don't want to hear all this stuff about quarterbacks and it's a quarterback league and a pass-happy league. Defense still wins championships, as evidenced by the Seahawks championship recently and the Denver Broncos championship recently.
Right now, who would you say the favorite to win the Super Bowl is?
Right now, I mean, that's a tough question.
It's the Patriots every year.
And it's not and it's not the Patriots defense.
But they're always balanced. They're always balanced, though. They never have
Tom Brady.
Sometimes they have a bad defense, and they don't. They didn't win the Super Bowl when they had those bad defenses. But they always have an average to above average good defense.
Last year, their defense really wasn't that good.
They held the points
they did
down.
Just like we said, they did just enough.
Exactly. They hold teams down with the points.
The
stats aren't great on their defense, but they always hold down teams on the points. And Belichick is a genius. He makes the defense work for him.
How the Bills looking?
Terrible. Thanks.
Yeah. No,
they should not have traded out of that spot and taken a quarterback. Give up on Tyrod Taylor. It's over.
They got Tre'Davious White. I like Tyrod Taylor. Both of us do. We like Tyrod Taylor. I think Tyrod Taylor could be good. I know last year wasn't very good, but the year before that, what did he throw? 20-something touchdowns, 3 interceptions?
Yeah,
something like that.
And he's a dual threat.
Yeah, he can run.
I think more of the problem, honestly, if I'm being honest, was Sammy Watkins. The guy
that's one of my favorite players.
He just can't stay on the field long. He just can't find a way to stay healthy.
Yeah. I mean, they had no weapons last year besides Watkins. When Watkins was off the field, Robert Woods was their number 1 wide receiver. I mean, that's pretty bad. Yeah. So that hurt them a lot, obviously. They got McCoy. They got to build up on their offensive line a little bit, their defense. I mean, Tre'Davious White wasn't a bad pick in the first round that they got. They traded from the Chiefs, got that cornerback from LSU. He's a pretty good cornerback. It was a solid pick. I'll give it
the Chiefs moving up though to take
Patrick Mahomes was pretty sure.
So I think it's great for Mahomes.
Great.
With the exception of Deshaun Watson.
I thought Watson would go there. Yeah, I like Watson better.
We said this that time. I like Watson better too. But I did like the trade up because they're looking ahead. Alex Smith.
What's the knock on the Chiefs? What's the knock on the Chiefs?
Quarterback.
quarterback. He's just
a game manager.
Just a game
Yeah,
manager. He's
exactly.
not gonna
That's
win
like
you any
another way
football
to
games.
say he sucks. You know, he's a game
Well, the thing is,
manager.
he never.
I
He
mean,
was
just good enough to be a
mistakes. He was like
starter.
Pennington.
The only way
kinda.
he's going to win a Super Bowl. I mean, they've had a good defense. The only he needs to
They're
like
never going to
be a
win. They're never going to
very
win with him. They're never
minimal
gonna win
role.
with him.
So
'Cause
cut the tie.
I hear you talking about defense and quarterback, but I think the Chiefs are a perfect example. Their defense is great. Their running back situation is always good.
Charles
Smith,
got hurt a lot.
But Spencer Ware was great last year.
At times.
Alex Smith is never going to do enough to win enough playoff games. I'm sorry.
I don't.
And that's
I
why
don't
you
agree
need a
because
quarterback. You need the.
Let me
great
tell you some
quarterback.
quarterbacks that won Super Bowls on the back of
Recently,
the defense.
no, it has to be
Even
recently.
recently, recently.
Football has changed.
The Denver Broncos.
Okay, Manning,
Peyton
I know, Manning was horrible.
absolutely awful. Got hurt. Brock Osweiler came, which set the stage for his big contract, and I don't know why that was the case.
And now he might
the
stop
guy
for
was
the
not
Browns.
good.
He might stop for the Browns.
The guy was not
That
good.
just shows
Biggest
how
gangster in the
desperate.
world.
How
everybody is
desperate
for
our teams
quarterbacks.
are. Yeah, it's so
Desperate.
desperate.
Well, because the
He
line
had a
of
4-game showcase.
the line of demarcation in the league is people who have quarterbacks
Yeah.
and people who don't. Those are the winners, and those are if you don't have someone who could at least hold on
But
to
that's
the ball.
what I'm saying.
it's
But
not
I'm
gonna
saying
happen.
Denver won the Super Bowl without a real quarterback. I mean, Peyton was done at that point.
What's another recent team that has done that?
The Seahawks, when they won,
Russell
he
Wilson,
was a
man.
rookie. I think he was a rookie that
still
year.
played-
and
he
and
still
they
played well.
played off the run.
But
it
he
was a
wasn't a
Marshawn
rookie.
Lynch team. They
But-
ran all day.
But you're talking about someone that ends up being one of the best quarterbacks now.
But at that time, they did not rely on Russell Wilson whatsoever. They didn't have great receivers.
Whatsoever.
They mostly ran. I think they ran over 50% of the time.
I know. I understand you saying running and defense was their best.
Exactly. It was a ground and pound based team.
You're right, but they still had Russell Wilson.
Yeah, I know. So, but at that point, Russell Wilson is not what he is now. He was more of like an Alex Smith. He was more of a game manager for that team at that point.
No,
you have to
he's
say that.
Better.
He didn't go off like that. No.
No,
Way
but he
better
could
because-
run.
yeah.
He could do things. Smith can
Yes.
run a little bit, but he's
He at least scared you. Russell Wilson. That's what Alex Smith scares nobody.
No.
He scares nobody.
I know.
The jury is out on Smith, and that's it. They're not waiting. We know what.
No,
Alex
I know.
Smith can
He's
do.
obviously not that
We
good.
know what Alex Smith can do, and that's it. I like the trade up that the Texans made for Watson. They needed to do it because Romo spurned them by retiring.
Yeah.
You know, I know.
I don't buy that.
Cowboys, by the way,
I think he'll be
Katie?
back.
You think Romo?
I think Romo
I
will
think-
get the call. He'll
I don't
You think
know.
he will?
I think
don't think so.
CBS. I think CBS had to put in this contract that you can't come back.
I think those
He's the number one
those
guy.
announcing jobs are so cushy. They don't want to like
They
Jeff
are.
Van Gundy. Right, he could be one of the best
Gruden.
coaches in the NBA. Gruden. They don't leave those jobs once they take them.
Yeah, they
they
don't.
make tons of money.
Yeah, I know.
The
And
worst
they don't
part
have to
is
deal with the stress.
It's another time that a Cowboy beat a Giant. You know,
That's a good
getting
point.
getting Phil Sims out of there.
Uh,
Tony Romo.
That hurt, man. That hurt.
Anyway,
All the
guys.
Cowboy fans out there.
Well, Phil Sims needed to go. He's falling asleep.
I love
I
Phil Sims.
I thought it was a little. I thought it was a little cold-hearted. I mean, there was no warning at all.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, Tony Romo was the number one guy. I was like, wait, what happened to Phil Sims?
pretty
Do
messed
we even
up.
know what happened to Phil Sims?
He's vacationing right now. You know. He's looking for Jeff Hofstadter.
Don't get me wrong. I don't feel bad for him.
Oh,
but,
no.
But it was a little.
Yeah.
Could have got a heads up, maybe.
Yeah, it was a little harsh.
I'm
Anyway,
not feeling bad for Phil Sims. All right.
anyway, yeah. So that's the draft. The Giants, the Jets. I give the Giants an overall grade of C plus. I give the Jets a B minus. I think a little better than the
Their
Giants.
first-round pick was great.
because their first round pick was so good. It's probably the best pick of the draft,
And so many
besides
holes.
Myles Garrett, obviously.
So many holes to fill. They could have
Yeah,
just picked anything.
yeah, exactly. You have
It's
so
an
many holes to fill.
improvement.
The only thing they messed
Best
up with
player
was the
available.
safety second round. But some winners that I liked in the draft, some teams that did well. Obviously, the Browns. I mean, they had a lot of early picks, but they got
They did
Myles
good,
Garrett.
yeah.
They did well. They got the guy Deshaun Kaiser. I think in the
Out of Notre
third
Dame,
round
third
or
round.
second
Second or
round.
third?
Second or third round. I think it was the third round. I don't know.
Oh, that's a good third-round quarterback pick.
Yeah, that's a good quarterback to get. I mean, the guy's got a big arm. He's got a lot of talent. He's got a lot of
That's
skills.
exactly what I said about David Webb. Got a
No,
big
but
arm, a lot of talent.
this guy went before. I think he went in the second. Actually, I think he went before, and he's high. I think he's better than Webb, and plus they need a quarterback. The Browns, the Giants don't really need one. Then you got the Browns got Njoku, who the Giants should have got at tight end, and they got some other guys.
Jabril Peppers.
Jabril Peppers.
Which
That was a little
that's-
sketchy pick,
yeah,
but
that's a sketch. You don't know where he's going to.
But the
What is
talent's
he going to
there.
wind up playing?
yeah,
talent
the
is
talent's
there.
there.
I agree.
You know, they just try to. You know, they're filling in a lot of their needs, and they did a good job of that. I think the Saints did well. I like what the Saints did with their picks. They got Ryan Ramczyk in the last pick.
And they drafted. They signed Peterson.
Yeah, they saw Peterson.
So now
Then-
they got Ingram and Peterson there.
Oh, and then oh no, that was
Didn't
the
they
Vikings.
take? I thought they took a running back too.
No, the Vikings took Dalvin Cook in the second round, who they already have Latavius Murray, who they got from Oakland.
Right.
Murray,
Panthers
I don't
took
think
McCaffrey.
Murray's.
I like Murray. I had him all year last year in
Panthers took
fantasy. He's a
McCaffrey.
beast. He's fast and he's big. What?
Panthers took McCaffrey.
Yeah,
Talk
let's
about
talk
fantasy.
about those
Yeah.
guys.
Let's talk about quick
Fournette
fantasy.
and McCaffrey.
fantasy,
What do
yeah.
you think about both of those guys this year?
I think for fantasy purposes,
McCaffrey at the
I know
beginning.
Wynn mentioned it last week. McCaffrey's going to be good. He catches a lot of passes. I think he can easily become the starter there. I mean, I know Fournette
Can
do the
he
same thing
can
with
he
the Jaguars.
carry a full load?
Well, the Panthers never
He's gotta
want
get
their
hurt.
running back to carry a full load
Yeah,
because
they've never done that.
Jonathan Stewart and D'Angelo Williams split for years.
Well, that's
and they're
just
both
because
so great.
Jonathan Stewart wasn't good and always got hurt.
Well, why didn't they just let D'Angelo Williams be the number one guy? They always split it.
I mean, a lot of
Williams
teams
always-
split carries, you know.
But McCaffrey's going to catch a lot of passes for all the PPR leagues.
That's what they
All
needed.
the PPR
Because
leagues, yeah.
the best pass catching back was Fozzie Whitaker.
Oh, Mike Tolbert.
Get him the hell out of here. And Mike Tolbert ran it. I mean, as a fullback, but get Fozzie Whitaker the hell out of here. You got Christian McCaffrey. A lot of people gave that a bad pick. I know it was early. It was the 8th pick. I think
I liked it.
but I liked it. Yeah.
No, he was supposed to have like the greatest combine. You know, they said that he had like
Talk
the
about
best.
pedigree, his family, like Ed McCaffrey.
Oh my God, yeah. Oh, I think his mother was a
grandpa
track.
sprinter,
Yeah, exactly.
gold
Isn't
medal
it-
winner.
wasn't that the case with Patrick Mahomes too? His father was
Yes,
like
I believe
a
so.
baseball
Yeah.
player
I
too.
believe
Pedigree,
so,
yeah. And then you got Leonard Fournette, who's a pounder. You know,
Bo Jackson.
He doesn't
Bo
catch
Jackson.
the ball.
They compare him to Bo Jackson.
Yeah, he doesn't catch the ball.
Come on.
So-
Or
Bo
more
Jackson.
recently,
He's a pounder.
Zeke Elliott. You know, you could.
Well,
try.
they say he's Zeke Elliott, except the fact that Zeke Elliott's a great passing back, receiving
And he's a
back,
great blocker,
and he's a great
too.
blocker.
So
too.
he's not Zeke Elliott.
and he
at all.
doesn't have the vision. Well, he has the power, the speed, and the size like Zeke Elliott.
and they
he just
both
doesn't
would
have the
prefer to run
the
through
vision
people as opposed
yeah.
to go around.
He doesn't have the vision, Elliott, either, which is a big thing. But it's a good. I think Coughlin made a good pick there though with Fournette.
Fournette could be a great player.
Could be a great player. Jaguars need that,
They need something.
because obviously what's his name's not cutting it over there.
Bortles.
No, the
TJ
running
Yeldon?
back, T.J. Yeldon, yes, Yeldon. So that was good, and I also think that the 49ers were good in their third pick. They got Solomon
And they
Thomas.
traded down for
And
it.
they got a
Yeah.
king's ransom for
At
Trubisky.
the end of the draft, they got Reuben Foster, who was the guy I wanted the Giants to get, but they had the diluted substance issue with him.
That was a guy that they had said that they were going to take in the first round if they could, if Solomon Thomas wasn't on the board. So they get him further down the line.
Exactly.
It's a steal.
Ended up being a good draft for them, I think. And I was going to mention the Saints. They got that safety Buda Baker in the second round, which is a good pick for them too. They needed defensive help all over the place, and they drafted first 3 rounds all defensive players. I'm pretty sure. And then the Colts did decent. The Redskins got a steal with Jonathan Allen at
absolutely.
17. I think
and
it was.
the Bucks got a steal with Howard too at 19.
Yeah,
Great pick for Winston. Great pick.
great.
I don't
pick.
think that there's really a team in this draft that did very poorly.
the Giants. the Giants.
I don't think you would have been pleased.
The Titans were a little bit with Corey Davis, unless he's graded really high. 5th pick, wide receiver.
That was pretty high.
I love that guy. I think
Okay,
he's
there
gonna.
No, he's good. Yeah.
I think this year you're talking 1,000 yards. I think he's gonna go. I think he's gonna be awesome. That team has
There's a
no
fantasy
wide
guy.
receivers.
There's a fantasy guy.
That team,
They had
who's
no
there?
wide receiver.
Matthews is their best wide receiver.
Rashard Matthews?
Yeah,
He's not terrible.
he's not that good. I mean, this
He's
guy.
not- he's not
this
that
guy
good.
actually, they had him going after Williams, but I don't know. I guess they really saw something they like. I think he's gonna go nuts in fantasy. He's the biggest
They went
impact
for
guy.
I think Corey Davis is more of a big time playmaker type as opposed to Mike.
And he's on the right
Williams, which
team.
is
He's
just
got a good
possession
quarterback.
big
He's got
guy.
a good quarterback that's gonna hit him up.
Yeah. Well, let's move on. That was the NFL draft. As a Giant fan, not too pleased, but it was an interesting draft. It was deep class with the secondary and stuff. And right now, we're going to get into a little baseball, and we're going to get into the debate topic. We'll tie those two things in together because our debate topic is about baseball today. We'll address it to you guys now. We got about 10 minutes left. Give us your comments. Tell us what you think, and then we'll respond to them towards the end of the show. And we're going to talk about it now, and we'll talk about some updates in baseball right now too, like the Mets debacle. But the question is, you have in the last 25 years, so basically our generation of watching
Or if anyone
baseball.
out there has watched baseball for a little bit longer than us, their generation in general.
Yeah, and but we're talking about our generation right now, the last 25 years, who we think are our rotation, our best rotation. So the best 5 guys, starting pitchers in a rotation in the last 25 years. Who are those 5 best pitchers? So let us know what you think. We're going to talk about it now. We want to start with just regular news and updates about the MLB first.
All right, we'll go quickly into that.
Yeah.
You had
Syndergaard.
Syndergaard, just a kind of little debacle going on. He was supposed to pitch Tuesday. Game got rained out. Supposed to pitch Wednesday, and then they just pushed him back to Thursday. So something was up because why wouldn't he pitch? Thursday.
They said tired arm.
Yeah, no, well, they didn't say it yet. Because then
arm.
Thursday came up, and he didn't pitch on Thursday. So they dead arm and bicipital tendonitis, which probably a lot of pitchers have, which will be very painful.
Then he declines MRI.
Comes up, throws on Friday, says he feels great. Declines the MRI, says, I know my body. It's my body. He says, can't argue with that.
That's first mistake.
Throws Sunday and tears his lat. Partially tears his
Oh, my
lat,
God. Who knows how long?
Huge muscle.
Yeah, who knows
And
how
Maybe
long?
if he doesn't refuse that MRI, there might have been something already there. He
Exactly.
might have tore it further.
They could have seen some sort of
Right.
strain,
Right.
maybe to shut him down a little bit.
Exactly.
You know, the lat the lat has to do a lot of the lat's not a huge pitching muscle, but it is important with controlling when after you get into
It's the
cocking
sports
phase
science.
of throwing, and then you
doctor.
come, there you go, and then you come and it kind of controls it down. So if there was a strain there and it wasn't going, that's probably, and he throws so hard. I mean, he just puts so much torque on his arm.
He got jacked this year.
Yeah, he did get jacked. And then
Who knows if that affected
Now he
him?
tore his lat, and now he's, he refused. Now he's going to be out for months. Months, they said.
Months, yeah?
Mats was out 2 months with the same injury.
Oh, my God.
In
They're
2015.
10 and 14, the Mets
Yeah,
are,
they're
too,
10 and
right
14,
now.
off
Not
to-
looking good. Not looking good, Met fans. Sorry.
Well, it's impossible.
I didn't want to
look good
bash him, but I got to bash him at this
by
point.
Gotta
losing
bash him.
23-5.
They
Oh
lost
my
23 to 5
God.
yesterday.
It's hard to look good.
I don't know who's pitching for them anymore. Now you got Harvey. I mean,
Gazelman.
DeGrom and Harvey haven't
Seth
been what you
Lugo's
wanted
going to
them
have to
be.
come into the rotation, I
Seth Lugo
guess.
has to step up. Wheeler can't get out of the fifth
Mats is
inning.
starting the pitching program.
Oh, well, that's good.
That's nice.
Well, that's a step in the right direction.
Wheeler can't get out of the fifth inning, let alone into the.
Oh, my God. Yeah.
Yeah, what's the deal with Harvey? Do you think he's a shell of his
Former
former
self?
self?
I'm
He's
actually
not
not-
striking people out.
I'm not giving up. I'm not a Met fan, but I'm not giving up on. I wouldn't give up on Harvey
always
yet.
likes Harvey.
Still, I said it before. I'm not going to give it. It's still cold weather. You got to remember, he didn't pitch for a while, and even last year he was pitching and didn't have a good feel for the ball. I'd give him a little more time. If it gets to July and August, when the weather's warm and he's still pitching bad, then I'd be a little worried if I was a Met fan. But right now, you got to go through the growing pains with Harvey right now. He just came
Yeah.
back. If the weather gets-
Especially that Syndergaard's out.
couple of months, if we're still talking about it, then
But
worry.
with Syndergaard, can we just give? I mean, I don't know what to think about this because, I mean, nowadays everybody's on a deal. It's just like he's trying to pitch through something, right? He's not in a day where everybody's resting in the NBA and people are going on the DL. Everybody, there's pitch count is 100. He's trying to pitch through it, and I mean, I think there's something to be said about that. I mean,
I agree.
If this very easily could have went the other way, and he's completely fine. And then,
So you're back in Syndergaard.
I mean, he knows his own body. Listen, it looks
Mike
hard.
Bukowski, Bridgeside's resident baseball pitcher.
That's right.
Yeah, I know my own body too.
And what happened to your shoulder?
It's
You been
hanging by
throwing
a thread. But
It's rubber arm.
But I mean, what are you paying these guys for? He's trying to pitch through it. It ended in a disaster. But what if it went the other way? I understand it looks bad, but I mean, he's trying to be a gamer, and
It's a bigger problem with the Mets. It's a management thing.
Yeah.
There's no way all of these guys can be getting as injured as they are. You refuse an MRI. At some point, you have to step in and be the adult in the room and say, no, we need you to have this MRI.
And I brought this exact thing up, I think, like one of the first episodes we did weeks ago, where I said, there's something wrong with the Mets.
Organization, the whole thing.
Well, the actual
Training staff.
training, yeah, like
They
health
need
program.
Dr. Phil to
It's
come in.
terrible.
There we go.
Guys are always getting hurt. I mean, it's crazy. But yeah, they're in some trouble. I mean, it's still early, but that's a bad sign for that's your best player, Syndergaard. Basically, for him to go down. I'm sorry, Met fans, but guess what? The Yankees are doing really
Yankees
good.
are doing really good right now. What a win on Friday.
I think we got
Coming
the best record in baseball. No,
Washington.
Washington does. Washington.
You guys
does.
are
I think a game ahead
tied
of us.
with the Orioles,
Yeah.
I think. With
Ellsbury with
15-8?
Ellsbury was first Grand Slam of his career. Brought us back on Friday. Saturday was another great game. Sunday was a great game. We just lost.
I can't stand
Unfortunately,
Chase Headley though.
Even though he's playing well.
Come on.
Actually, he cooled off a little bit from that super hot start, but yeah, I know.
Like 400.
And what's
I
up
know.
with Bird? What's going on with him? I mean, he tore up spring. First of all, I'm focusing on the negative here. Obviously,
Yeah.
In April, everything went right. I mean, friggin' Torreyes is looking like an
Paid
all-star. I
300,
mean,
290.
everything is going right. The starting
It's literal.
pitching has been
We
fantastic.
lose Sanchez, Romine's hitting.
Yeah, I mean,
Sanchez
come
might
on.
be back for this weekend. We're going to be in Chicago watching that game. Sanchez
Exactly.
might be back.
Exactly.
but I mean, things are looking good right now. Judge, I mean, he's like you don't want to leave the room.
He's one of the best players right now. I mean, we lead league in home.
Because he really cut down on his strikeouts. He really worked on it. He really worked. He's not chasing that many pitches. He walked 3 times.
Teams are terrified
yesterday.
of him.
He walked 3 times yesterday. Take your walks. And then, you know what? And it goes back to what Chris said. The big hitters get walked the most. He got walked 3 times yesterday.
Yeah, he'll eventually get the walks just because people are scared of him. But, yeah, I mean, they're 15-8, like you said. You're right. They're tied with the Orioles right now. The Red Sox are 13-11. But it's early, like I said. Because even the Chicago Cubs are 13-11.
I know.
And they lead the division because the division's really pretty much... There's a lot of parity in that division. They're all pretty much the same.
Yep.
Besides Chicago. They'll eventually pull away.
It's just April, but it's good to see good signs of life. Tanaka's pitching much better than he has in recent years. He looks better. He looks more confident on the mound. So,
I think the biggest thing is that Pineda and Severino look
absolutely
phenomenal.
Look great, striking guys left and right.
They had this potential, and right now they look crazy good. They're striking out more than 1 per inning. They look untouchable, and they're not walking anybody. Both of them have, I think, 4 walks on the year.
They're both on fire. And that's what I said before the season. If those 2 guys do well, and they're doing a lot better than I thought they would for the beginning, and they're doing great. But, let's go back to that question. Back to the rotation. So, let's ask you guys go first. Let me know.
Right,
What do you give me an ace, your deuce
give you
to
the
the
ace
5.
and the guys. I'll give you the ace. I'll give you
the ace and the guys.
Give me the ace and the
guys.
Ace gotta be Pedro Martinez that I've seen. Pitched in the steroid era, pitched in the AL East during and Fenway Park, and just dominated. He's my ace. You got the resident lefty going to be Randy Johnson, who could be an ace on any other staff. I'll have Randy Johnson going. I'll have Greg Maddux coming up as well. I'm going to go. I don't care how many steroids he took, whether he took it or not. We can't rule it out because we don't know what everybody's on steroids. So I got to go Roger Clemens.
That was your number 3, Clemens?
He's my 4, let's say, which is a pretty good 4.
You said Pedro
Johnson, Maddox, Clemens, and I'll make it quick. I'll wrap it up. This guy was great for a little while. I'm going to go actually Roy Halladay. Roy Halladay was dominant for a little while with the Blue Jays and the Phillies.
Nice.
So that's what I'm going to do.
I have to agree, except I'm going to take Randy Johnson first. So lead with the lefty. I would take
almost 5,000 Ks.
I would take Andy Pettit there too, because if you're talking about people in the postseason, no one's better than he is.
The playoffs,
Roy Halladay. Absolutely. Pedro and Tom Glavine.
Okay. All
Tommy
right.
Glavine,
lefty heavy. You got 3 lefties going. Yeah.
I'm going Pedro 1-2, just because I remember those Yankee Red Sox games. When Pedro was pitching and you got a guy on first base, you had to bunt to get him to second, pray to God that you got a single. Yeah. It was you knew the game was going to be it was going to be 1-0, 2-1. I mean, I'm taking him 1. I'm going Randy Johnson 2. Maddox 3, Kershaw 4, and just to switch it up a little bit, I'll go Johan because he was a for a while. Why not? Just throw it in there
until the Mets ruins his career. But okay.
Pretty much.
Only no-hitter in Mets history.
He'll always have that.
Terrible franchise.
And I'm gonna switch up because this is who I would want to take if I want to build a rotation, right? So I'm gonna go Kershaw 1, even though his career is not done. I think he's gonna end up being probably number 1 quarterback. I'm still in football. Number 1 starting pitcher of all time when it's all said and done. When it's all said and done. He's played 10 years right now. His career ERA is 2.37. He's got 130 wins.
I don't want to jump down your throat yet.
So Kershaw is my ace. My number 2 will be Randy Johnson. The longevity, the dominance at times. I know Pedro was dominant too because he's going to be my number 3, but I don't think he was dominant for as long as Randy Johnson. He's had his peaks, and his peaks were almost untouchable. But my number 4 would be, I'm going to say Greg Maddux there at 4. And then I'm going to say Halladay 5.
Okay. I just want to give you the difference.
No Clemens because of steroids.
I'm going to say
go for it.
Tom Seaver.
I would say, I thought about, I know it's a little before our time, but Doc Gooden for those couple of years for the Mets was one of the best pitchers. I just want to give you the little difference between AL and the NL, just how much I value the fact that what Pedro did. And just for 1 year, in 98, when Johnson split between the Mariners and Houston, in 98, he was 9-10 with a 4.33 ERA on Seattle, Randy Johnson. Not saying Randy Johnson's not a good pitcher, but then he got traded to Houston, so same year. 10-1 with a 1.28 ERA. So that's the same year. And he got traded midseason, and he became has a 1.2 ERA and 10-1. He was 9-10 before that.
It's that one
I'm
more,
not taking
pitcher.
literally anything away from Randy Johnson because you're right. His strikeout total is 372. It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Like, he just kept striking out 300 guys.
Oh yeah, he blows all the
But
other guys we set
to
out of the
me,
water
it's
with
just
strikeout totals.
what Pedro was doing in the American League at Fenway in the AL East with
But
steroids.
Pedro doesn't have the wins that
because he didn't have the longevity.
Clemens
He didn't have the
and Maddox-
longevity those
yeah,
guys
exactly.
had.
But that doesn't mean as much. And
1.74 ERA in
it's
the AL East.
I think
Come
ERA
on.
means more than the wins, obviously, because sometimes you're on bad teams or you didn't play long enough. Sometimes you got to take the body of work, and his ERA was below 3 for his career. So I mean, it's not like it. But thank you guys for watching us today. Had a real good time.
Yeah. Thank you for
Thank
being
you
here,
guys
guys.
for
Both
coming
of you, both.
as guests.
having us.
Thank you.
Thanks
Mike
for having
Boo,
us.
Stephen James. Look out for the Stephen James Experience, his show. And then tomorrow on Bridgeside Live, we're featuring Crypt Keeper 5. They'll be playing here. And, we want to see you guys next week, Monday, 9 p.m. every day. And we'll put up the 1-minute clips each day as well. Thanks for coming.
Have a
Bye.
good night, guys.
Thanks, guys.